Hi there, I'm Jen, this is Remembered Reads, and this is my October book haul. Even though I'm not at home, I'm not letting that stop me from buying books, which maybe I shouldn't be, because I'm going to drive home with this car full of books at the end of the month. Or actually, it is the end of the month, so in a while. Book Outlet was having their big Booktoberfest, so they had an additional 15% off their already discounted books, plus there was a coupon, so I have no self-control, so I bought a bunch of books. So let's take a look at them. I did manage to pick up one mass market paperback, which I feel like I should have more of these because they're easy to stick in your purse when you go somewhere, and I realized recently I have all these hardcovers and can't really carry them. But anyway, this is David Weber's Like a Mighty Army, which the wounded church is regrouping, its armies and resources are vast, the fight for humanity's future isn't over and won't be over soon. Sounds like a nice, military sci-fi space opera kind of thing. And who doesn't like that? Up next, something completely different. We Need New Names by NoViolet Bulawayo, which I believe is about some girl in Zimbabwe who eventually moves to the United States and her life and family stories. Another one that I picked up was Joseph Boyden's Through Black Spruce, which I actually thought I'd had, and then I looked because I had started reading the ebook and then I realized no, I only had the sample. I mean, I loved 3 Day Road and Everybody Likes the Orenda, which I actually didn't finish because I was in the middle of reading it when we moved, and then I realized I hadn't actually finished that book, but I liked the 3/4 of it that I read, so I will read that eventually. And it's about the same bird family who show up in both 3 Day Road and the Orenda, and I think there were some bird family people in a couple of the stories in Born with a Tooth as well, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, Will Bird is a legendary Cree bush pilot now lying in hospital. And there's family drama. Who doesn't like that? What else did I pick up? Oh, let's jump over to some nonfiction. Montcalm and Wolfe, which I believe is about the whole Plains of Abraham development of Canada, yeah. In September of 1759, a small band of British troops led by James Wolfe scaled the tall cliff overlooking a farmer's field owned by Abraham Martin and overpowered the French garrison, etc. I've never read anything about this, which is strange. I feel like this is something that some people seem to have learned about in school in Canada, and for whatever reason, we either didn't cover it or I wasn't listening, so I thought, I'll buy this, I will read about it. And we'll continue on with some nonfiction. 31-0, On the Road with Football's Outsiders, a World Cup Odyssey, which is looking at all of the countries that were trying to qualify that are not in that top 10 in FIFA's rankings. These are the countries at the bottom who are, losing matches 31-0. So I think this will be interesting because I do really enjoy reading the sort of intersection of social commentary alongside sports. So, and let's jump back to some science fiction. This is Tanya Huff's Confederation of Valor, which is actually 2 books that I think were published separately previously, Valor's Choice and The Better Part of Valor. So, look at that classic sci-fi kind of cover. We've got the book that I paid the most for. I mean, it was still on sale, so it was still half the regular price, but it was still, I was not sold on picking this up, but yeah. Star Wars Bloodline. I couldn't stop myself at the end, even though the sale was only semi-good. I'm hoping this will be entertaining. I did sort of lukewarm on a lot of the new Star Wars tie-in books. Aftermath was okay. I'll pick up the second one eventually. I thought those sort of, young adult aimed series, there were 2 that were by Greg Rucka and 2 that were by 2 other authors, which I don't remember the names of now, sorry. Again, okay, but not great. But I figure if I keep reading enough of them, eventually some of them will be great, maybe. So next up, Hellblazer the Family Man, which I don't think I have. I put a lot of my Hellblazer collections in storage 2 moves ago, and they're still in storage, so I can never remember exactly which ones I actually have already, but I am fairly certain that I don't have this one. This collects, I believe, 22, hang on, let me look. Yeah, issue 22 to 33. So fairly early on in the series, so that's good. Incidentally, I also had 2 other Hellblazer collections in my cart, and they sold out before I could check out, so I'm not the only person who was buying these. Okay, next, In the Heart of the Sea, which was made into a movie recently, and I believe this is the movie tie-in cover, about, men on a whaling ship who were afraid of cannibals, so instead of sailing to, or getting in their rescue ships and trying to get to some Pacific island because they were afraid they'd be eaten. They tried to get to South America, and as a result, had to become cannibals and had to eat each other. I imagine this will get into more depth because I know that because that's the famous part of the story, and I'd like to hear more about the non-famous part of the story. I haven't seen the movie yet, but the movie seemed to be advertised as like it's the almost like it was a Moby Dick preview, which I mean, yeah, it's sort of inspired that way, but I don't know, that seemed like a strange selling feature when I feel like the cannibalism part is maybe the part that's better known, but maybe that's just me. Next up, Into the Silence, The Great War, Mallory, and the Conquest of Everest. Because if you've watched many of my videos, or any of my videos, you know that the First World War and classic mountaineering are two interests of mine, and this is like, two great tastes that taste great together. That's terribly disrespectful to say when considering this is about a lot of people who died for these things, so I should not have said that. But I am looking forward to reading this because I think it'll be an interesting piece of history. Next up, this is heavy, Sculptor by Scott McCloud, called an urban fable. I'm mostly looking forward to this because I'm constantly recommending Scott McCloud's nonfiction as references to people. I think I probably recommend Understanding Comics to people 5 times a year and have been doing that for years and years and years, because he really did create sort of the reference for teaching people how to read comics who haven't been interested or haven't grown up with it, and name how many people I've suggested read that, have read it, and suddenly went, oh, okay, and who never realized that they would be interested in reading comics. So, but I have only read his reference books. He read any actual fiction from him, so I'm looking forward to seeing this. Finally, The End of All Things by John Scalzi, who, weirdly, considering that he writes military sci-fi, which is the thing that I read quite a bit of, I've actually never read any of his books before. I bought Old Man's War once, and I got it at a discount sale, and it turned out to have this is disgusting, so if you don't like insects, don't listen to this, but there was a moth, like chrysalis, attached to it, and I ended up having to throw the book out because this bug had burrowed itself into the spine. So I didn't read that, even though I bought it. Luckily it was only $1, so I wasn't upset to have had to throw it out. But I have, just in the past month, I downloaded, he had an audiobook, which is really a short story, that was available free this past month, called The Dispatcher, which I believe is still free. So if you look on Audible, you can check it out yourself. I thought it was fun. Not particularly in depth because it was a short story and it felt like it needed more than that to me, but I will talk about that in a wrap-up. Not now. Anyway, I'm looking forward to reading that. And that is my big stack of books. So, thanks for watching. I think now I need to look for people who also bought stuff on this sale, because I know I did, my sister did, my mother did, and we all had things in our carts that sold out before we could even check out. We're like texting each other, did you get all your books? So I'm sure other people did, so I'm going to go look for videos of that because I want to see what everybody else got. They're the people who got the ones that sold out that were in my cart. There, yeah, that's it. Ciao.